Good morning, everyone. Well, spring has been in the air since March 20th, the first day of spring. And since that time, we have experienced a little rain, wind, and cool and moderate temperatures. You know, as I reflect upon and appreciate this weather, I think back often to last summer when we were suffering through the very hot weather in July. And I remember complaining about that weather, the scorching weather, where we were experiencing several 100-degree days, including 1 week where every day was at least 110 degrees. And at one service last August, I had expressed my discomfort and suffering from the hot weather to a friend. And this friend just looked at me and only said, "Just go with the flow." And after the service, I thought about those words and realized her wisdom in telling me to really quit complaining and do the best you can with a positive attitude in order to adjust and adapt to the situation, to the weather, knowing that weather will eventually change and get better. And these words, these wise words had come from a woman who had experienced true suffering with the passing of her family members. And this realization made me feel so embarrassed and small for complaining about the weather, which in the big picture provides us life with sunlight. And from this awakening, I also realized that all of us, every one of us, can learn from others based on their own experiences, and they do not have to be teachers or ministers. And I am so grateful to that friend, and I just wanted to say to her, thank you for being my teacher. And speaking of suffering, today I would like to talk about the root cause of the first of the Four Noble Truths, and that is humans will always experience suffering and pain in their lives, commonly known as dukkha in Buddhism. Specifically, dukkha is defined as, among other explanations, not being at ease, being uncomfortable, feeling agitated, and never being satisfied. And this is much like how females refer to men as, instead of dukkha, we're called dukkha. And that's spelled D-U-D-E-K-A, dukkha. And, oh, thank you. Someone got the joke. Thank you. And this was for my friend in the audience. As Shakyamuni Buddha taught us, the different types of suffering are birth, aging, sickness, and death, being with people we don't want to be with, not being with people we want to be with, not getting everything we want, and experiencing physical anguish through our sense of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and mental anguish through anxiety and depression. Why do human beings experience suffering? As we grow older, life becomes more difficult as external demands and expectations increase, such as learning to share with others, mastering self-reliant skills, in obeying rules so that humanity, with its nearly 8 billion people, can coexist on this planet. In Shin Buddhism, the main culprit associated with suffering is the ego mind that is always thinking about our self-centered identity, our self-importance, with everything revolving around me, as we all succumb to our desires, our cravings, and attachments in the endless pursuit of attraction and pleasure. The ego mind is relentless as it perpetuates a win-lose, us versus them scenario, whereby I must win and you must lose. This type of mentality is constantly seeking power to control people, places, and situations, so that feelings of domination will mask the true feelings of insecurity from within, obtaining power at the expense of other people's miseries and misfortunes. Greed, anger, and ignorance poison our minds. The distorted ego mind cannot distinguish between impermanent from permanent, true from false, cause and effect, karma from outcome. All root causes of the world's confusion, suspicion, afflictions, and turmoil. Greed turns pleasure into disappointment, happiness into anxiety and fear, and transforms itself into anger, which then contributes to a person's inability to show compassion and sympathy for others. With greed, you will find other character traits, such as aggression, a perceived need to assert dominance over others in order to defend oneself, jealousy, envy, wishing we had someone else's qualities, advantages, successes, or awards because of our own low self-esteem, resentment, buildup of anger, frustration, and disappointment from a perceived wrongdoing or harm done to oneself, and cruelty, inflicting physical and mental pain and suffering upon others in order to feel pleasure for their misery. How can we overcome our desires, cravings, and attachments associated with the ego mind? As the fourth noble truth teaches us, the Noble Eightfold Path, with its right mindfulness and right meditation, helps us to cope with our ego mind. Right mindfulness is the teaching of being in the moment, focusing on the present, so that we are fully aware of what is truly going on right now. And with this awareness, do the right thing in the form of right thought, right speech, right conduct, and right effort, so that we will treat people as we would wish to be treated, with respect and honesty. With the teaching of right meditation, we can then self-reflect upon what we did with our minds in the form of what we thought, our decisions, and with our body in the form of what we did, the outcomes. Our mind and body determining how we live based upon what we have done with our lives. The Buddha Dharma teaches us that all things are forever changing. People, places, and situations, always coming and going. What goes up must come down. Happiness and sadness, fortune and misfortune, excitement and boredom, and so on and so forth. we experience the moment, the present, for what it is, knowing it will not last, for this too shall pass. We must stop comparing ourselves to others and simply enjoy our own uniqueness and take responsibility for our own experiences, our own actions, and accept the consequences. Without comparing ourselves to others, we must remind ourselves to appreciate and be grateful for all that we have, and not just our physical possessions and the people in our lives, but for the skills and abilities we have developed, our successes and achievements, the potential to still be, to still grow, and to be honest with ourselves, including acknowledging the flaws, the quirks, and imperfections that will always be a part of who we are. And with this balanced approach and outlook, we can overcome the ego mind and let go of our desires, our cravings, our attachments, and during our transformation, become more understanding, more accepting, and more forgiving in our journey to seek fulfillment, happiness, and peace in this life. And thanks to Amida Buddha's primal vow, when our time has ended on this earth, we can move on to the Pure Land and achieve our final goal, enlightenment. Finally, I leave with you a quote from Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, regarding how one should approach life, regardless of where you are in life, be it a young adult, middle age, seniors, or retirees. And the quote is, "Our time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by the dogma, which is achieving the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voices. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition, for they know what you truly want to be." So with that, please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.